Wormwood Fetal Style. Dreams and aspirations are meaningless when knowledge and time are your enemies. I'm now a cell in the brain of the one, and though beings are supposed to die, we never will. So you say that this is no misfortune to grow forever larger, forever stronger, but it is a cancer to us, a force-fed growth, not unlike a sculptor slapping clay against a mound, slapping, slapping, slapping to it with no thoughts of ever carving from it. My feelings on that day had been different. The grueling weeks of battling viruses had left me exhausted yet elated, knowing that I had beat the odds. Smug and self-assured, I floated happily. If I had a desk, you can bet that my legs would have been propped up on it, arms folded, head back confidently. That day's event should have cued in a safe transition. My position was well planted. My heart pumped my own blood through my own veins. Most of my senses were intact. Sight revealed that day. Movement and rebellious kicks the day before. Life was simple, wet, and warm, but the desk was about to be pulled out from beneath me. A vision had entered my mind, a vision of petals unfolded on a yellow daisy. One daisy, two daisies sprouted in the garden, and more, filling the womb with their nodding faces. Celestial music accompanied the flowers, giving them breeze for dance. Strong stems swaying, perky petals flowing, their playful rhythms enticed me to reach out, allowing my tiny fingers to gently tickle the leaves. Then came the cold. Warning has no consequence when retaliation has no definition. The word defenseless still chokes me with bile. Stark light had entered the womb along with the alarming cold. In thrust a screaming blade which hacked the garden and me to pieces. Stems and limbs flew, yellow petals drowned in fresh fetal blood. As life left my body, my mind remained conscious, escaping the horror by being spiritually transformed and whirled into a corner of the room. Wafting above the scene, I watched the doctor withdraw his bloody scalpel. A purple fist, clenching yellow petals, dropped from the blade. Time without form, soul without bounds, I drifted through space. Stars twinkled like the luminescent particles of my womb. Plants were strung together resembling uterine walls, but that's where the similarity ends. Here, my life was cold and unattached. With a hardened heart, I traveled willlessly before I found the others. How simply ridiculous the truth can be. Yes, all dead fetuses find their place, and it isn't in only incinerators and shampoo bottles. Our spirits bind together, forming a heaping mass of hatred and despair. No human can comprehend the irrational state that is created by the senseless depth of extreme innocence. The essence of our being was pure. We had not been contaminated by worldly experience, yet our sole encounter with man was one of violence. These executions were and are an abomination. To coin a phrase, man knows no fury like a fetus torn. Oh, I know. You're groaning with disgust at the silly pun, but it was the one's only reality. I'm sorry, I need to explain the one. Well, as man has often theorized, a tragic death is not the end for a spirit. It then combines to other common entities to form one spiritual body. There are many such bodies in space: the spirits of genocide, the spirits of suicide, the spirits of victim of war, for example. We are called the One, composed of every extreme innocent to have been aborted by man. Huddled together in our black mass, quaking with abnormal rage, the One was violent and confused until the goal was formed. The impetus for the goal began with a cry. At first, I believed it to be the haunting of my screams from that day, until it grew, feeding on me, yet enveloping me. Why should I describe a thought? Simply, it was spoken. I still exist. The explosion of emotion that the statement sparked is unequaled. I left my eye on the needle. The words came quietly from the front of the mass, growing in intensity as they passed through me to return to their source. The woman heard me cry. Again, faint at their conception, growing until they whipped through me as if I and the words were on a careening roller coaster. My twin held me in death, came the echoing apparition. Cold was the alarm, were the words which spiraled the others into a whirlpool of declaration that disappeared down the drainpipe of memory. Every innocent was cleansed. Why the time was right for this flooding of negativity is unimportant. The extreme innocents were all communicating and thereby rejuvenating. Positive energies filtered through, proving Earth's axioms of silver linings and good cries. With our common bond of misery and the restoration of our souls came the ability to hope and the formation of our plan. The goal was set. We were to be born on Earth. A mighty goal indeed for the spirits of abortion, but remember, we were also the seeds of creation. We called upon that natural instinct of invention to manifest a new being, for the One couldn't be born. It was merely a collection of individual fetuses. For that reason, every extreme innocent transformed itself into a living cell, each cell having its own function and working much the same way an ordinary cell would. After being indoctrinated to the goal, new arrivals were changed into various cells and set out on their task of strengthening the baby. The freedom of movement, the five senses, and newborn instincts had all been formulated by the time the baby began its journey. The coldness of space seemed to dissipate, for the universe had become a womb. Because of the continued flow of innocence from Earth, the baby's path was already laid out. It simply met and followed the trail back to Earth, the proverbial journey beginning with its end. Time with a reason, soul without bounds, the baby sailed towards its destination, animating the heavens with its playful kicks and somersaults. Stars and asteroids were for batting practice, zooming comets were for catching. Life was simple and full of fun. The baby's overpowering urge to suck had forced it to find its thumb. Birthing time was imminent, for the trail of innocence became dense. The baby reasoned that it could use the trail as its vaginal canal. Cells were being manufactured from the latest arrivals for this purpose. The plans for the goal had been running smoothly, but the desk was about to be pulled out yet again. The elation and self-assurance that we as cells had secured from our new life was about to end. As we came closer to Earth, the path of innocence had become thicker. There was something wrong with the sensations that were produced by this stronger flow. Like the beginnings of cold, the first signs of trouble were ignored. The overproduction of new brain cells made the baby nervous and jittery. Mistakes had been made regarding the creation of the birth canal. Gastronomic upsets plagued the baby. All manner of malformations had occurred, for the baby was being bombarded by innocence faster than the arrivals could be processed because of the deafening increase of abortions. Extreme innocents were no longer being indoctrinated to the goal, but were hurriedly transformed and rushed to various locations. Panic seized the baby, making it suck vigorously on its thumb. Its mind was confused with old fears, which added even more chaos and stress to the disorder. Outside the path of innocence was a volcano, spewing aborted fetuses into the baby, causing it to pulsate with each threatening wave. Desperation set in. The baby frantically looked for escape, but found itself defenseless. The volcano had centered in on the baby's stomach and held its course with a stream of innocence as powerful as a fireman's hose. Because of the thundering flow, new cells had been given the wrong information. Flesh that initially was to form a separate birth canal had become connected to the stomach. The desk had been pulled. This brings us to where we are now. Transformations no longer take place. New arrivals merely enter through the canal to feed the baby. The goal has been aborted, for the baby is attached to earth by a thick, black umbilical cord of aborted fetuses. The baby is sad. The baby is crying. The baby wants to hold and be held. Our sorrow has stained the moon with tears of blood, and our grasp has covered the earth with darkness.